Hi everybody, welcome to this Wall Street News. According to the US Department of Labor, the number of Americans claiming unemployment benefits fell from 221,000 to 217,000 in the week ended July 19th. According to the S&P Global, the preliminary U.S. Composite Purchasing Managers Index rose from 52.9 in June to 54.6 in July. The U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Department of Housing, Urban Development reported Thursday that sales of new single-family houses increased 0.6% in June from the previous month. 10-year Treasury yield is hovering around 4.39%. For the US stocks, the S&P 500 added 0.07% and the Nasdaq Composite rose 0.18% Thursday. Both indexes closed at record highs. According to the US Department of Labor, the number of Americans claiming unemployment benefits fell from 221,000 to 217,000 in the week ended July 19th. Meanwhile, the number of Americans receiving benefits after an initial week of aid increased slightly from 1,951,000 to 1,955,000 in the week ended July 12th. According to the S&P Global, the preliminary U.S. Composite Purchasing Managers Index rose from 52.9 in June to 54.6 in July. The S&P Global said, quote, "The latest reading signaled the fastest rate of growth recorded so far this year, with output having now increased continually for 30 months. In addition, flash US services PMI increased from 52.9 in June to 55.2 in July. The S&P Global said, quote, "July's expansion was powered by the services economy, where business activity rose at a rate not seen since last December. New orders growth also accelerated to match the pace seen back in May." However, S&P Global flash US manufacturing PMI decreased from 52.9 in June to 49.5 in July. The S&P Global said, quote, "Production growth slowed as new orders placed at factories fell for the first time this year. Both employment and inventories on purchases also dropped for the first time since April." The U.S. Census Bureau, the U.S. Department of Housing, Urban Development reported Thursday that sales of new single-family houses increased 0.6% from 623,000 in May to 627,000 in June, down 6.6% from 671,000 in June last year. Meanwhile, the median sales price of new houses fell 4.9% from $422,700 in May to $401,800 in June, down 2.9% from $414,000 in June last year. 10-year Treasury yield moved up and down as the initial jobless claims fell while the continuing jobless claims increased slightly. Then the yield fell as investors seemed to look at the U.S. manufacturing PMI falling to 49.5 and the struggling housing market. For the U.S. stocks, S&P 500 added 0.07% and the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 0.7%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq rose 0.18%. For me, it doesn't look beautiful. Okay, this is the end of today's news. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.